Hey everybody, welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. Or if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. We are glad to have you here. This is one of our True Crime After Dark live streams. We try to do this, I think, twice a month or so on Fridays, and then on the other 2 weeks, so we don't do it on Fridays, I try to do something on Thursday nights. But this is our Friday night edition. We're going to be talking about lots of stuff tonight. There's so much happening in the true crime and missing person realm, unfortunately, as always. There's just a never an end to missing persons or cases going on currently, cold cases. So we're going to go over a few of those tonight. We made it to Friday. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is, once again, trying to stay cool in this heat. And I apologize. I usually do missing person Monday live stream on Monday nights. I just wasn't feeling good Monday night. I've been out working and I think the heat got to me. And then this week I've been watching Shark Week. I love Shark Week. So I've just been going to work, coming home, getting a shower, getting a little bit to eat, and then watching Shark Week all week. But anyway, we're here tonight. And I've got a TV going on over here in the corner. So if you see me, I'm watching OP Live. Got it going on, muted in the corner. But let's see who is here tonight. Miss Farr checked in. Says she's a new member. I don't think she's a new member. I think she's been a member. She may just been renewed. But it's always good to have Miss Farr and her continued support. So we'll put our first cow in the pasture tonight. If I can find her, there she is. Thank you, Miss Farr, for your continued support. And Miss Farr is in Australia. So we have people from all over the world that tune in, and I'm so grateful for that. So grateful. We have people from Australia, I almost said New Zealand, Australia, Poland, Canada, United States. So it's just it just floors me whenever I see, you know, especially other countries, people from other countries tuning in. So it is always, it's just humbling, very humbling. I never thought that I would get, you know, many people in the U.S. to watch, much less from other countries. But I'm always so excited. Miss Marion checked in. She says, "Hello, everyone. Thank you for all the hard work you all do for the families of our loved ones." Absolutely, Miss Marion. Thank you for all your support that you give back to all of us. Always good to have Miss Marion here. Or she might be checking in because she says she has the grandkids tonight. Wonderful. Enjoy them grandbabies. Enjoy them grandbabies, Miss Marion. Chris is here. Good to see you, sir. Always good to have you here. Yes, Chris says it takes a whole community. Yes, takes all of us. Takes you know, as creators. You know, I hate to call. I don't even know. You know, call myself a creator, but anyway, creators, community. You know, just share. We can all do our part by watching other creators, liking and sharing the most important thing always. I told you it was going to keep me out. It was going to keep me out. Oh God, it's just what I need. And it was working decently well right before I came on, of course. So anyway, I gotta get all my stuff set back up again. Don't know if things are going to work. Anyway, all right. Let me see if I can at least make it through welcoming everybody in. See, where was I at? Oh goodness, I apologize. Okay, we were on Chris's comment. Don't tell me it's going to give me back my. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, Miss Paula is here. Welcome, Miss Paula. Good to have you here, as always. Our buddy Arctic is here. Hello, friend. I hope you're doing well. Stolen Spirits is here. I believe it's Brady. I believe is the one that's here. Check the hit the thumbs up from both of my channels. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please do check out Stolen Spirits. Excellent channel. They cover MMIP, MMIWG cases, which are so important because we all know that MMIP, MMIWG cases do not get the attention, as much attention as other cases. So it's always, we always try to do our best to bring as much attention to as many MMIP cases as we can. So Very important. Good to have stolen spirits here. Yes, it is Brady. I was hoping I was calling you the right name. Let's see. Oh, bunches and bunches of comments popped up. Yes, Miss Paula says it's nice seeing everyone. Absolutely. Crimezilla is here. Hello, hello. Welcome. Good to see you here again. Miss Avery from Unnamed True Crime is here. Hello, hello. Good to have you here. Please do check out Miss Avery. Crimezilla says it's been a tough 8 weeks, but one day at a time. Well, I hope you are. I don't know if you're having physical problems or something else, but whatever the case may be, thoughts, prayers, and good vibes going out to you. Absolutely. Chris says, telling Arctic that he has great news about his Arctic's petition regarding the Amber Alert. Excellent. Yep. Good to see you. Still, oh, I got to reload. Hold on, I'm going to turn my camera off if I can hit the right buttons. When it kicked me out, it also kicked out my slideshow. So get the slideshow. I can take it down for a minute. Trying to get some other things straightened out. Okay, that one's still good. I apologize, guys. You know how it goes around here. Oh, I guess I have to. It just really messes everything up when anyway, Dazed Romero is here. Good to see you, Romero. Good to have you here. Okay, I'm just gonna give up on that. Try not to throw myself out. I have enough trouble with my with StreamYard throwing me out. Good to see you, Romero. Let's see. Oh goodness, Crimezilla says there in Florida it's hot and humid. Love Shark Week too. I know I love Shark Week. Love Shark Week. I think it's been on for like what 30 years now. I know I've been watching it since I was a kid. Love Shark Week. See now, yeah, now you're gonna have the song going through my head once again. Yeah, Arctic. He's in the Fort Smith area of Arkansas. 107 heat index. Yeah, when I was out working at one point this afternoon, I'm in Central Arkansas. I'm a little bit east of Little Rock, and I think the temperature was 90 something. The heat index was like 109. I think at one point I checked it. It was up to 112, and then it went back down to 109. So still too hot. Too hot. There's Junior. Hello, Junior, our good friend Junior. He is in Michigan. He's in Michigan. So Junior is either at any point in time in Michigan or Kentucky. But we love Junior no matter where he's at. Oh, Arctic has been a member for 12 or 11 months. Thank you, sir. So we put another cow in the pasture. Keep losing my cows. My cow. There she is. Thank you, my friend, so much. Absolutely, it means the world to me to have y'all's support. Goodness, everything keeps jumping. So we have Romero says he's from Turkey. So we can add Turkey to the list. Excellent. Oh, you're kidding. No, never mind. He's from Wisconsin. I should remember that. You said something about being from Wisconsin on one of the live streams. Don't be messing with me tonight. I'm kidding. We do have some New Zealand. You have to refresh my memory on who's from New Zealand. I try to remember where everybody's from, but there's our friend Mustang. Hello, friend. How are you doing? Good to have you here. It's probably my connection. Meryl says it's just me or is she laggy? It's probably my connection. Yeah. Probably my connection. Although it should be getting better. I don't have the little thing up there right now telling me what the bars are. So that usually means it's decent. Sorry, I'm still trying to nope, I don't want to do that. Still trying to get stuff fixed here. Anyway. All right. Junior says Mustang is stalking him. Am I frozen? Am I okay now? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Hold on, let me go down to the bottom of the comments right quick. It should be decent now. I apologize if it's laggy or if you're having trouble hearing me. Yeah, not even 15 minutes in. Yeah, that's my bad. That's on my side. It's lagging. I might have to turn off the camera. Sometimes if I turn off the camera, it helps. No, StreamYard kicked me out. StreamYard kicked me out. Yes, that might help. I don't know if I've ever cleaned the cache out. Well, it's my signal because I don't have proper Wi-Fi, as I call it, so I go through the hotspot on my phone. So it's all dependent on my cell service, and if my cell service sucks, because I'm out here in the boonies, on the farm. I mean, I'm not out in the boonies. Town is like 5 minutes away, but still and I have Verizon, so sometimes the cell service is not as good as it could be. Well, Miss Farr's back. Thank you once again. If you missed it, thank you for being a member. You said you were a new member, but I know you've been a member. Thank you. Arctic is getting in links. There's Stolen Spirits link. There is Miss Paula's link. There's Miss Doris from the East Coast. Hello, ma'am. Good to have you here. Always glad to see Miss Doris. There's Miss Avery's channel. There's Dandy. There's our friend Dandy. Hello, Dandy. How are you doing, ma'am? Good to see you. Trying to get caught up, and then we will get started. Like I said, we have lots of stuff to go through tonight. Miss Doris is, I believe, from New York, New Jersey. She's in that area. She's on the East Coast. Romero was asking, yeah. All right. Just getting caught up to make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh my goodness, I hate to hear that. Crimezilla said, I'm a behavior therapist, and our company shut down and filed bankruptcy, affecting 80 employees and 150 families, been unemployed for 8 weeks, starting a new job in a week. Man, I hate to hear that. But I am glad to hear that you're starting a new job. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's just so hard. Yes, absolutely. Getting caught up once again. What kind of cow? Daisy is not like Dandy says, I want a woolly, tiny SHIT cow. Did autocorrect get you again, Dandy? But my homeowners association won't allow livestock. Man. See, that's what I like about living out here on the farm. We can have any kind of critters out here that we want. Anyway, did I miss skits? Hold on. Somebody said something about skits. I'll make sure I don't miss anybody. If I miss skits, I apologize. I haven't seen, unless I lost some of my comments when it kicked me out. Miss Skits is here. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, my friend. Good to have you here. Has anybody had a Mr. Steve while I'm going through Mr. Steve, or heard from Mr. Steve, or had a Mr. Steve sighting recently? I know he's probably still out on the road. Out on the road working, doing the good work. Junior is bullying me. Oh, Junior don't bully anybody. He hurt my feelings. Suck it up, Buttercup. Yes, down in the boondocks. Yeah, I said it's just far enough out from the little hamlet that I live in, where we don't, my only closest neighbor is my uncle next door here on the farm, and then we down the road and around the corner we have family friends that we've known all our life. But yeah, nice and quiet out here. But then it's only like 5 or 10 minutes to get to town for anything we need. So I like it. I like it. See, I'm late to the game. I just now I found out that they were doing a Happy Gilmore too. I think I've watched the first Happy Gilmore maybe once, all the way through. There's just, no offense to Adam Sandler or anybody. I can only take so much of Adam Sandler at a time. But I am excited. We talked about this, I think probably last time we did. I think we did Southern Gal After Dark. We were talking about entertainment stuff. They're making a Practical Magic 2, which I'm excited about. And the 4 main characters are coming back. Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman's coming back to play the sisters. And Stockard Channing, and I believe it's Diane Wiest are coming back. They played the aunts. So I'm excited about that. Excellent. Crimezilla says, I'm going to start my YouTube channel again within 3 months. So happy others are keeping up with the missing. I will focus on children's cases again. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, we love you too, Miss Doris. Where there is a Crimezilla's channel. Yep, that is awesome. Yep. New York, because I always tell Miss Doris if I ever meet her, I want to hear. I love that New York East Coast accent. I love it. Absolutely. Crimezilla says, thank you. Our children have autism, families that need us, and schools. Absolutely. Absolutely. My sister-in-law, baby sister-in-law, loved the Highland cows. Yep. She loved the Highland cows. Okay. Mustang says, I'm at Mr. Steve. He told me he'd be back sometime in August. Excellent. Excellent. Miss Doris said she would love to live in the South and have some cows. In the city, all you can really have is a dog or cat. Yeah. Now, we don't have any cows on the farm. We don't have any animals on the farm now. Well, we have the neighbors down the road that I told you about that, we've known their family forever. They keep a couple of horses in our pasture. But now, when I was growing up, my family raised cattle along with the farming, the fields, and then they raised chickens to sell the eggs. back when I was a little kid. So we used to have cows and chickens on the farm. Crimezilla says they want the mini cow. Mini cows are so cute. Yep. Yes, Junior is harmless. We love Junior. Well, if you're sensitive, just saying. I mean, you know. Dandy says she can't wait to ban Echoes again. I don't know. He may pop in here. I don't know. It's Friday. Well, no, it's Friday. He's probably working. But if he gets bored at work, he'll check in because he tells me that I'm less boring than his work is. Romero thinks that Nicole Kidman is the most beautiful woman ever. Fair enough. Trying to think. I know I've watched when she played the Catwoman, but it's been a long time. Oh, that's right. You were telling me. Yeah. Okay. Skits is from New Zealand. That's right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Oh, let me take that off. Yes. Skits is from New Zealand. You are most welcome. Yep. I have no problem posting our friend channels, the good channels that are out there, that are in it for the right reasons, you know. Do the most good, or do good, do no harm. Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Junior says I can't take much of Adam Sandler. Yeah. Crimezilla said they grew up in Iowa, left farming life. Absolutely. I like some Keanu Reeves. Yep. Romero said Adam Sandler and Keanu Reeves are most humble actors ever. Well, that's good. That is good to know. Mustang said, wait, what did you say? Arkansas is chicken broth. Sorry, everything jumped. Mustang said Arkansas is chicken brained. Yeah. Chris says he can't stand Travis Kelce. I like him as a football player because I like the Chiefs. They're probably my second favorite football team behind my Bears. But yeah, just off the field, I don't know. There's just, yeah, I can only take so much of Kelce too. But you know, he's a good football player. That's all I care about. So did he and Taylor break up? I keep reading things that they broke up, but you know, once again, you can't believe everything that you see and you read. Oh yeah, we have Tyson and yeah. Yeah, because Mustang's from Arkansas too. Says there are a couple of chicken plants here and chicken coops everywhere. I know when you go by one of those chicken farms, oh my God, it smells to high heaven. Dandy says, if your brother comes in, I'm gonna take him out just because I can. Hey, more power to you. Yep, Crimezilla says roosters are so loud at 4 to 6 a.m. Yeah, I remember. Which I don't think we had any roosters. We just had laying hens, for the most part. Well, no, we would have to have roosters too. No, never mind. We wouldn't. Never mind. I'm trying to remember my. Anyway, Mustang said my former neighbors had chickens and a rooster, and they live in town. Oh, I know. When you go to town, when I was doing home health caregiving, right in the middle of town, nice part of town, the lady I was staying with, right next door, whoever lived next door, I don't even know who lived next door, had a trampoline with chicken wire around, or some kind of wire around it, and they had ducks in it. And then there was a few chickens and roosters running around in the yard all the time. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, small country, rural towns. You never know what you're gonna see. You are correct. See, I don't like that. Or not what you said, Romero, but Romero said, I grew up south of Milwaukee. There were a lot of neighbors who did rooster fighting. Yeah, I don't like any kind of animal fighting. Yeah. 36 years ago, yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Simmons. Yeah, we have Tyson and Simmons. Thank you, thank you. Miss Avery says, I love your background. Yep, I did that. And then I did this one, but if I can remove myself for a minute, so you can see the other background of the dumpster fire. Hold on one second. So add myself back in. So that one was a dumpster fire. Sunshine, Mind of Monsters did that one for me, and she did the cow too. So I love my dumpster fire background that she did for me. Has anybody? I think she posted maybe. Oh, they're still together. Okay. Chris says that Kelsey and Tay Tay are still together apparently. Hey, as long as they're happy and not bothering anybody. All right. Has anybody seen Mom Mind of Monsters lately? I know she hasn't been going live. I think she's posted a couple of times. Community posts. So I hope she's doing okay. Maybe just enjoying her summer down in Florida. All right. Go ahead and put this up here. Check something again, and we will get started. I think I'm caught up in comments. All right. I'm just going to leave that alone because the more I mess with it, I'll probably mess it up. Romero, oh, that sounds good. Romero says, me and my nieces are making homemade pizza, pizza bread, pizza pockets, pizza rolls, cheesy pizza, garlic bread. My kitchen looks like a dumpster fire. All that sounds excellent. I will take any kind of pizza or bread in any form. Sounds good to me. He says it's experimental food night. I gotcha. All right, let me mark right there so I know where I stopped at. Before we get into the slideshow, I did come across, I actually forgot to put it in the slideshow, couple of things to talk about, to go over before we get into what I had on the slideshow. So I know probably most of you heard about this horrible case. I believe it's out of New York. I hope I pronounced her name right. Melanie Metheny. Apparently, she's the one that apparently her father had reported that she had been. Sorry, something's under my feet. Had called in and reported that she had been abducted. Come to find out, and he has now been charged, or it's going to the grand jury. I believe he will most likely be charged with some form of homicide. So I got a couple of articles, and let me put her picture up because I did remember to upload the. Where's she at? There she is. This beautiful little girl right here, Melanie Metheny. Just a horrible story. I got a couple of articles. So this one just kind of gives the background a little bit for anybody who doesn't know. It's from the 23rd, from abc7.com. A 9-year-old, and she was actually Canadian. They were Canadian, but they were down here supposedly visiting, camping, I believe. So a 9-year-old Canadian girl whose father had reported that she had been kidnapped in upstate New York was found deceased Sunday afternoon, with investigators saying that she had not been abducted. And so once again, her father was the one who claimed that she called 911, claimed that she was abducted. And they were now questioning inconsistencies in her dad's story, according to authorities. The body of the girl, identified by the Warren County Sheriff's Office as Melanie Metheny, was discovered in Ticonderoga, New York. Sorry, I'm getting ass out of the way. Near the New York-Vermont border. About 15 miles. This was about 15 miles from Lake George, where her father initially claimed that she had been kidnapped on Saturday by a man driving a white van. So he goes to, once again, this is alleged right now as of this moment. But I mean, can you not come up with a better story than the old standby, a man in a white van took my kid? I'm just saying. So the report from the father led the New York State Police to issue an Amber Alert earlier on Sunday. A massive search was launched involving state police, canine, and aviation units, New York State Park Rangers, the Essex and Warren County Sheriff's Offices, the New York State Department of Conservation, which is probably what we call around here Fish and Game or Wildlife Services, and the Ticonderoga Police Department. According to a statement from the state police, quote, as the case progressed, law enforcement identified inconsistencies in the father's account of events and the timeline that he provided. The investigation was ongoing Sunday afternoon as state police took over the investigation from the Warren County Sheriff's Office. Police say the girl's father, 45-year-old Luciano Fradolin, also of Canada, has been arrested in his daughter's passing. He was booked into the Essex County Jail in northern New York Sunday night. As of the time this was written, there had been no word on what he's been charged with, and state police did not disclose how Melina died. Well, they have now disclosed that she died from drowning. And let me find... See, this may be more because I went through and made a folder in my bookmarks so I could have all these together and not get them mixed up with my bookmarks from Monday night. So let me find the other article. Okay, I think this is the one I want. Hopefully it won't throw me behind the paywall. So this is from the timesunion.com. It is from the 25th, which is that today? Is today the 25th? Yes, today is the 25th. So this is from today. Homicide charges against father of Melina Fradolin now before grand jury. Charges alleging that Luciano Fradolin took the life of his 9-year-old daughter and hid her body in a remote part of Ticonderoga. So it's I've heard of Ticonderoga. I can't say it, but I've heard of it. Is it a campground, a forested area, a national park? What exactly is it? Somebody from that part of the Miss Doris, she could probably tell me. Oh no, it threw me behind the paywall. No. But basically it was saying that they're sending it, have sent it to a grand jury. Let me see if I can find a different article. It won't put me behind the paywall. Hold on 1 minute, 1 second. Okay, maybe it'll let me read it from this one. Okay, this is from mynbc5.com. Luciano Fradolin homicide case shifts to grand jury. Luciano Fradolin, get rid of everything in my way. A Canadian man accused of taking the life of his 9-year-old daughter Melina in Ticonderoga will not be in court on Friday. He was scheduled to appear in court on July 25th for proceedings related to charges of second-degree homicide and concealment of a human corpse. New York State Police said that Fradolin took the life of his daughter and left her in a pond. Once again, trigger warning. I probably should have said this at the beginning. It's on the creeper, but just so New York State Police said that Luciano took the life of his daughter, left her in a pond under a log off of State Route 74 in Ticonderoga. Melina Fradolin had been on vacation in the U.S. with her father, Luciano, 45, of Montreal, Quebec, when she was reported missing. Initially, Fridolin said that Melina had been abducted by two men in a white van. Once again, the old standby near exit 22 on the Adirondack Northway, triggering an Amber Alert. Police later learned that the story Fridolin told police was false. Fridolin was in court on Monday morning where he pleaded not guilty. Sorry, everything's ads popping up. Where he pleaded not guilty to the charges. He was ordered held until his next court appearance, which was scheduled for Friday, July 25th. But apparently, for some reason, he was not in court. Because that would have been today, or maybe he was in court. But that at the beginning it said he was not going to be in court. At any rate, at least they figured out that this POS, in my opinion, was not telling the truth, and got everything sussed out, and he is allegedly, he will have his day in court. All right. I have to agree with you there. Once again, this is all alleged as of if anybody's watching on replay, this is all alleged as of right now. Paula says she did post once. Who you talk about, Miss Paula? Oh, Miss Paula says she finished Monster Menendez Brothers. I haven't even started on it yet. Yep, I agree. I tend to agree. Romero says Menendez was money motivated. Yep. Yep. To me, I mean, you know, just in my teachings, in my homicide is a sin, against no matter who it is. But all these cases that I've said this before, all cases get to me, but when it involves children and elderly, crimes against children and elderly, it just infuriates me even more. Yep, Chris said the father in the New York case is a very bad man. I agree, sir. Sorry to hear that, Romero. Thoughts good. I can't talk tonight. The heat, I got a heat stroke in my brain. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes to you. Yeah, absolutely. There's Miss Barbara. Hello, Ladybug. How are you doing? She says she'll be replay crew. That's fine. Yeah, Monday was was it 3 years since her son Timmy Dees was found. Unfortunately, not the way we like for people to be found, and she is still fighting with tooth and nail for justice. So I'm going to have to get Miss Barbara on here as soon as I can and see what's been going on, if anything has moved or changed in her fight for justice. All right. So I think I'm caught up. So that is, and I will have to add these links that I will go back and add these links because I share, or the links that I use for all my article sources were always in the description box. I have to go in and add these ones that I didn't have that I didn't put in the slideshow. But I'll go back and add. I'll have to wait till till the live stream finishes and it processes, and I'll go back and put them in. Actually, I can probably put this one in the chat because I think I remember to enable chat replay for all my all the live streams. All right, so there, if it'll come up, it may take it a minute. There it goes. That is the one article. Let me get the other one. The link, and let me find the other one. Find my bookmarks where I hid them for myself. Okay, there's the other one. I'll put the other one in there also. But I will also go back and put them in the description box. Paste. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I will mark right there. So next I wanted to talk about, let me find another case of a mother, and I can't remember where this is from. A mother, and I believe her 7-month-old child. No. Let me get the article up here. Oh, no. Doing it from the wrong tab. Hold on, guys. While I get it loaded, let me get the picture up over here. And there's, if you hear, there's the kids are up and down the road with the loud trucks tonight. It's Friday night, so all right, let me find the picture I'm looking for. That would be this one. Whisper Owen and her little baby, 7 or 8 month old, Sandra McCarty. So this is from people.com from today. And this is from, where's this from? Oh my goodness, it'll tell in the article. So mom and 8-month-old daughter disappear after leaving doctor's appointment. They've been missing for over a week now. So Whisper Owen and her 8-month-old daughter, Sandra McCarty, were last seen driving in a silver 2006 Chevy Trailblazer. A mother and her 8-month-old daughter have been missing for over a week. On Thursday, July 24th, Fresno, so I'm assuming it's California, Fresno County Sheriff's Office confirmed in a press release that they were still looking for Whisper Owen, 36, who is on the left side of the picture, the mother, and her daughter, 8-month-old Sandra McCarty, who is on the right-hand side, after they were last seen driving in a silver 2006 Chevy Blazer on Tuesday, July 15th. So it's been over a week, 10 days now as of today, as we're recording this or doing this. At the time, the mother and daughter had left a doctor's appointment, according to Fox affiliates and ABC affiliates. They were then, quote, supposed to be heading home to Elk Grove, which is in Sacramento County. I don't know how far away from where they disappeared, where they went to the doctor's appointment, and Sacramento County, Elk Grove, where family members were expecting them. And then this is according to a statement from authorities. They were traveling in a silver, once again, 2006 Chevy Trailblazer with a California license plate 9LKH008. The SUV has damage to its driver's side headlight, according to officials, noting that the vehicle left Fresno on July 15th at around 5 p.m. local time. Police added that the vehicle was last captured on a traffic camera at around 8 p.m. local time in Atwater. Once again, I don't know. I'm assuming it's somewhere between where she was and Elk Grove. Which they said, which is near Schaefer and Bellevue. So this is from people.com. People has contacted Fresno County Sheriff's Office for further comment. According to authorities, Whisper, the mother, is 5'6" tall, 145 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair, and little baby Sandra is around 1 foot 10 inches tall, 17 pounds, with green eyes and brown hair. Gives no clothing description, unfortunately. Authorities stated no information has been discovered to explain their disappearance. Tiffany Machado, who is a close friend of Owens, the mother, told a local news outlet, "We have not heard anything about it since, and we have not heard from her." since Owen and her daughter disappeared. Machado added, her phone just goes straight to voicemail. We're really concerned about the baby. She is only 8 months old. Whisper's partner, Robert McCarty, who I'm assuming is the father of baby here, and her 2 other children were reportedly waiting for her at home when she disappeared, because Owen often visited her family in Fresno and would sometimes spend multiple days there. Robert said that they did not initially worry, but by Saturday, July 19th, 4 days after they disappeared, after they were last seen, the family did file a missing persons report. Both Robert and Machado have visited the Atwater Police Department to seek surveillance footage. They've also been putting up posters in the area. The outlet reported that friends of Owen said that she is, quote, a loving, attentive mother, and that it is, quote, completely out of character for her to suddenly go missing. People are advised to contact the police if they have if they've seen them. Whisper, the mother and baby. If they know anything, if you know something, say something. If you see something, say something. Call local police. Call 911 is going to be your best bet. Absolutely. So just another. Hopefully, this mama and baby can be brought home safely. Absolutely. All right. Let me get back over in comments for a second, and then we'll move on. I have one more. Another missing baby. And now, if any of these 3 have been resolved, I haven't checked in the last couple of hours. Just absolutely let me know on comments. Turn my camera off for a minute while I'm reading comments, and I will update. All right. Absolutely. Yep. If anybody, feel free to put green hearts in the chat for Miss Barb, for Tammy. You're fine, Ramiro. Absolutely. I understand. It's not being, no, if I always tell, that's why I give trigger warnings. If there's something that we talk about that anybody just, feels like they can't, it's absolutely fine. Absolutely. Have a good night, sir. Always good to have you here. Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much. Right back to you. Yes, absolutely. It just breaks my heart. I mean, these are the kind of cases that, I lay awake at night thinking, going over the possibilities. What could have happened? Did they have when they're driving? Did they have an accident? And I don't know anything about that terrain, that part of California, because they've had an accident, gone over a cliff, or accident somewhere where it'd be hard to find them. Did something nefarious happen? It just, unfortunately, we just, at this moment, do not know. Hey, Miss Darlene, good to see you, ma'am. Welcome. Please do check out Miss Darlene's channel. Somebody's probably already thrown the link in. I need to give Miss Darlene, I thought Miss Darlene had a wrench. I have to give her a wrench. Caught up. Thank you for the green hearts. Absolutely. You always have our support, Miss Barbara. Oh, sorry, you probably hear me sucking on my vape here. Thank you. Let me get it up there. Why can't you see it? Oh, you can see it. Junior Johnson sent a $10 super sticker or super chat, whichever. Thank you so much, Junior. You are awesome. So we put another cow in the pasture. Thank you so much, my friend. Junior has always been supporting this channel from the very beginning. Before I even started my channel, I knew Junior from Mr. Steve's chats. Like a lot of you, like I've known a lot of you from Mr. Steve's chats. Junior is an excellent human being. Absolutely. Oh, yes, absolutely. He is magnificent. Good to see you too once again, Miss Darlene. Yep. Everybody's showing love to Junior. Thank you so much. Good night, sir. Thank you for being here. We love having Junior here. We love our Junior. Dave is probably working tonight. He may check in later. He'll be driving and listening if he's listening. Okay, so Chris says the distance is an hour. So that's not from where they disappeared from to Elkwood. Is that what you're talking about? Where they were going to? So that's not bad. That's not bad. Yes, thank you, Junior. Please stay cool and safe and hydrated. Absolutely. Yep, Junior is awesome. Miss Darlene says, my friend showed me a cow pic she recently got. That moo would be great beside. Piccolo, is that the name of the cow? Yes, definitely sleep sweet, Junior. All right. Okay, so we have one more. I'm sweating. Hold on. Wipe my brow and get the other baby Angelina. Let me find the article. I think I can't remember where this one is from. Let me find my bookmark folder. There we go. Okay, so this one, where's this one from? This one is from South Florida. And I may see on this one if it can, well, no, actually, I think I have a picture with all of them on there. So let me find that and throw it up there right quick. Give me 1 second. No, I don't want to go there. This one. So this is baby Angelino, and these on the left, and the other two, the woman and man, are, I believe they said they were her parents, I believe. I don't know the whole situation behind it, just have the basic information. In this article, once again, is from today from CBS News. Missing child alert issued for 7-month-old last seen in Hollywood. And this is Hollywood, Florida. They say months ago, not hours or days, months ago. Let me get a drink and I'll turn my camera back on. Okay. So a missing child alert has been issued after a South Florida family told authorities that they had not seen their baby niece since December of last year. So December, so that'd be 7, almost 8 months now. So on Thursday, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's Persons Information Clearinghouse issued a missing child alert for 7-month-old baby Angelina, who was last seen in the area of 3000 Sheridan Street in Hollywood on December 16th, 2024. Following the alert, Hollywood police issued another alert asking for the public's help in finding the infant child. Angelina is believed to be with 19-year-old Samantha Feliz, which is the middle picture, and 20-year-old Alejandro Leon Jr., who's on the very right-hand side, who are the infant's parents, according to Hollywood police and the FLDE. According to Hollywood police, a concerned family member reported Angelina's disappearance after claiming he had not seen his niece for, quote, quite some time, and that Feliz had made some, quote, unsettling comments. Detectives have been working diligently to find Feliz and Leon, who Hollywood police said are both experiencing homelessness. According to FDLE, Feliz and Leon may be using electric scooters and may be known as, quote, the scooter people. Additionally, FDLE says if Feliz and Leon are found, do not approach them. Contact law enforcement immediately. Call 911 is always your best bet. Or if you have any information about Angelina or her family, you can contact the Hollywood police at 954-967-4636 or the Broward County Crime Stoppers at 954-493-TIPS, and TIPS is 8477. So just another, all these babies missing. Just unbelievable. So take a good look, and I will post this on my community tab when we get done here. Which one are you talking about? Yes, all, in my opinion, all of these, or these last two, with baby Angelina, and then with Whisper and her daughter. Well, this one is definitely suspicious, in my opinion. Now, with Whisper and the one from California, I mean, I would consider it suspicious, but then again, it could have just been, it didn't say if she was driving at day or night time, which, I mean, you can have an accident in day or night. It could have been an accident. They just haven't found them. Like I said, I don't know the terrain around that area. If they ran off into a culvert or over a side of a ridge or something, or in a body of water. It's just, it could be, it could be that. It could be something more nefarious. Yes, absolutely. Somebody can put in Miss Darlene's link. You are more than welcome. Chris says there was what? It says there was also one in my area. A missing child. Just give me the name and I can look it up. Yes, thank you, Miss Dandy. There is Miss Darlene's channel. All right. So let me take that down. I think that is all. Now I think we can go to the slideshow. Take that down. Like I said, I will put that in my community post so you guys can share, and on Facebook for anybody who has Facebook. That way you can share it. I don't know what is going on. Some of my settings still aren't right, but that's okay. Okay. So the other, we're not going to really spend a whole lot of time, but if you guys have any comments, any thoughts, Brian Kohlberger has pled out, or made a plea deal. I believe he got life in prison with no parole, I'm assuming. And I've been reading that Stephen Stearns in the Madeline Soto case also made a plea deal. I'm gonna assume that both of I'm pretty sure Kohlberger was the DP case, so I'm assuming that's why he made the plea deal to take, or they said we'll take the DP off the table if you plead to such and such conditions. I don't know about, was Stephen Stearns, was it a DP case too? I'm going to assume it might be. So maybe that's why, they offered him the deal. We'll take the DP off the table, plead to this. And apparently in Abby and Libby's case, Richard Allen apparently has been moved to a prison in New York, or not New York, was it Oklahoma? He's been moved to Oklahoma. So I said, if you have thoughts about any of these, those three, Kohlberger, Stephen Stearns, or Richard Allen, you can throw them in the comment. Just be respectful, and because I know, not that I don't think these cases aren't important, but just lots of people, good creators have been covering these cases front to back. So you can go check those out for the details. And I'm just going to say, from what I understand in the Kohlberger case, that some of the family was okay. Now, I don't know if they all had to agree, because sometimes I think, they go to the family and say, okay, we're going to offer so-and-so, whoever it may be, in this case, Kohlberger, this plea deal with these conditions. And I don't know if the family has to agree, or maybe they want to be respectful of the family. They want to get, maybe not their permission, but just make sure that everybody's on the same page. And from what I understand, maybe some of the family was okay with it, and then some maybe weren't, which is understandable either way, So that's all I'm going to say about that. But like I said, if you guys have any comments or thoughts, just put them in the chat. Let me get caught up and we will move on. Oh, Echoes is here. You said Echo. Somebody must have said Echoes 3 times. Like Beetlejuice. He showed up. Hey, Bubba, how are you doing? You're probably at work, right? Are you bored at work? Hey, Ruckus. There's Ruckus. Good to have you here, sir. Good to see you. Oh, keep moving my table here. Always good to see Ruckus. Let me check Ruckus out. Ruckus Echoes says howdy, howdy, howdy. Yeah, it was always good to see Ruckus. I hadn't seen Ruckus in a long time. Yes, there is the link to Mr. Steve, the True Crime Web. Yes, Mr. Steve is awesome. Absolutely. And somebody can throw in, Ruckus doesn't have a wrench. I need to give him a wrench. Somebody can throw in the link to Ruckus's channel. Absolutely. Yeah, New York. I don't know why I said New York. Maybe we had that case. So we were talking about the Melina Fridolin case. It was from, or in that area. I had New York on my mind for some reason. Yeah, I believe it was Richard Allen was moved to Oklahoma, because I think Frank Meister, that's where I first saw it. Frank Meister had posted something on his community tab about that he had been moved. Yes, Ruckus is awesome. Yes, Mr. Steve is a legend, the national treasure. Oh, so Echoes, Brubba is not working tonight. Thank goodness. Worked morning shift today. Okay, gotcha. Yep, see, there we go. I think Ruckus started that. Mr. Steve is a national treasure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dandy. There is Mr. Ruckus's link to his channel. All right, I think I'm caught up. So, move my little piece of paper over here just in case anybody. Yeah, and anybody here, if you have a missing persons case, a cold, unsolved homicide case, any kind of case that you would like me to take a look at, maybe cover, do a video, whatever, you can throw it in chat. I have my handy dandy page out of my handy dandy notebook here that I can write it down on. Or you can always, if I go to the right thing here, if you're on Facebook, you can always, and that is the wrong one. Actually, I'm gonna have to change that. My Facebook profile is Dawn SGTG. So that's how you can find me. It has the same logo. Let me turn my. Sorry, I took myself completely out instead of just turning off the camera. It has that same avatar picture on my Facebook profile account. Or you can email me at southerngaltruecrime@hotmail.com with any cases, anything that you want me to talk about, take a look at. I'll be absolutely happy to. All right. Take that down and see what we have first. Let me get a. So first, we're going to start off. We have this case from Arkansas. Two missing women. I'm looking for the. Give me a minute. I thought this would be easier with putting stuff in a folder. Apparently not. Let me get this article going. Okay. So this is Denise Rhodes on the left. Robyn DeSort is on the right, both from Arkansas. And this article is from one of the local news affiliates, and it is from, when is it from? The 23rd. So, two Central Arkansas women missing for weeks. Excuse me, may be in danger. I'll take that off. According to a report from KATV, which is one of our local news affiliates, out of Little Rock. So Robyn DeSort, 34. Once again, Robyn is on the right. And Denise Rhodes, 59, were last seen on the evening of July 8th. Police believe the two neighbors plan to go to Eureka Springs, which is kind of up in the going up northern part of Arkansas. So on July 12th, Rhodes's house or home actually burned down. And a week later, police found Robyn DeSort's GMC Yukon abandoned near Bauxite. So let's take a look at their husbands. So on July 7th, the day before they went missing or disappeared, Robyn DeSort, the lady on the right, her husband took a plea deal in a case related to the alleged kidnapping of a woman last year. So Michael Robert Wesser, 51, was sentenced to 3 years of probation after pleading guilty to aggravated assault, DV, and terroristic threatening. But a kidnapping charge against him was dropped. So Denise Rhodes' husband, the one on the left, Michael Gatlin, is currently in prison and is scheduled for release later this year. So it doesn't say in this article what Denise's husband was in prison for. So Gatlin and Rhodes communicated regularly, but he said he had not heard from his wife in weeks. Authorities told this to KATV. So if you see Robyn DeSort or Denise Rhodes or have any information that could help police find them, you're asked to call the Saline County Sheriff's Office at 501-303-5609. So just some background. Early the morning of July 8th, Robyn made this Facebook post, quote, "I'm done in this place. I don't feel wanted any place I land. So I'm just going to drive till the wheels fall off or the gas runs out. I'm hurting and no one understands being drug around with a firearm to your head and him actually pulling the trigger. If that gun would have gone off, I would not be here. I guess you could say I'm lucky, but I wish it would have just gone off." So I believe that they did find the vehicle. I have to fact check on that. Hold on. Because it doesn't say anything about that in here. Let me check on that right quick, because I thought I had read that they found the vehicle that they were in. I'm looking. Oh, I spelled her name wrong. I put in DeSoto instead of DeSort. Wow. I cannot type tonight. Okay. think that's the same one I was reading from. Oh yeah, the vehicle was found abandoned near Bauxite. It wasn't in the article, but no sign of the women. So I mean, did they just, like Robyn said in her letter or her Facebook post, she was just afraid of her husband, tired of it, and for whatever reason, Denise wanted to go with her, and they just decided to leave of their own accord and start a new life away from their husbands, who didn't sound like, not good men in my opinion. Or did something nefarious happen? Because Robyn's husband was not in jail, I don't believe. Let me go back and make sure. Yeah, so Denise's husband, Michael, is currently in prison. Yeah, so Robyn's husband only has probation. So Michael, who is Robyn's husband, was sentenced to 3 years of probation after pleading guilty to aggravated assault, DV, and terroristic threatening. And the kidnapping charge against him was dropped. So he's probably still out. And I'm not saying that he had anything to do with it, but I'm sure that they are Charlotte checking out his thoroughly checking out his if he has an alibi. Or at least that's, my unprofessional opinion. I'm sure that's what I would do. All right. So once again, the link to this is in the description. And we'll try to find some missing posters or anything released by the law enforcement, given their stats and everything, to post on my Facebook and the community post here on YouTube. All right, lots of comments popped up. Okay, there's where I was at. Stop my camera for a minute while I'm reading comments and getting a drink. Okay, Chris says the case in his area has kind of been resolved. Okay, good. Echo says he's doing fabulous. Thanks for asking. There's Miss Peggy. Hello, ma'am. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. I'll be Frank. Good to have you here. It's a new name for me. Oh, Ruckus is telling somebody to mind their own business. Okay. Gibbo. Okay. Gibbo. I've seen the name Gibbo in other places. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Absolutely. Miss Dandy says, I'm glad each and every one of you are here with us tonight. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It's Paula and her Cheerios. Every time it makes me want Cheerios. Let's see. Yes, we're all glad that our Dandy Linus is here. Absolutely. All right. I'll mark there. If I can put down my drink without spilling it. Let me get everything going for the next. We have another missing person. Let me get the article started. Loading. Come on. I'm looking for it. There it is. Okay. So this should be Jean Doherty, I believe. Yes. Make sure I have the right article, the right name. Okay, so the family of Jean Doherty continues to search, pleading for support. Absolutely. Families need all people, families who have missing loved ones or any unsolved homicide. I mean, families need the support, the right kind of support. So this article is from the 21st of July, and this is from Silver Bay, Minnesota. So Echoes, do you know where Silver Bay, Minnesota? Because Echoes is in Minnesota. Where is Silver Bay, Minnesota? So a family is asking for the public's help in finding a missing man seen earlier last month in Silver Bay. Gene Doherty, 40, was last seen on July 1st at his mother's home. The family says he was without his dog at the time, which immediately raised concerns. Gene's family believes that he may be experiencing a mental health crisis. According to the GoFundMe, Gene's car was discovered on July 11th near Cascade Lake. So I don't know how, once again, I don't know distances from, So this discovery led a coordinated multi-agency search effort, including ground crews, sonar technology, and canine teams. Despite the family's efforts, unfortunately, Gene has not been found. If you're watching on replay, once again, thank you, replay crew. If you're watching later on, when we're doing this live stream, Gene has still not been found. The search was suspended due to challenging terrain, limited resources, and severe weather. Doherty's family continues to look for him. Excuse me. Look for him themselves. They set up a GoFundMe to help pay for the search efforts and things such as supplies and additional search equipment. The GoFundMe said in part, Gene's family was given the go-ahead to coordinate their own search efforts, which they started over the last week. The funds will be used to support additional gas, hotels, and potentially hiring a drone specialist, as well as a different canine search and rescue crew. So Gene is described as a 40-year-old white male, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, with an athletic build, bald, and green eyes. Anyone with information regarding the possible location of Gene Doherty is urged to contact the Cook County Sheriff's Office. It doesn't give a number. You can always call 911, absolutely, if you have any information or if you happen to see Mr. Doherty. So once again, this is from Silver Bay, I almost said Silver Spring. Silver Bay, Minnesota. So just so many missing. No, shut that down. Okay. I don't know if this putting my bookmarks in folders helped any. I went past going the wrong way. Just caught up real quick. Okay, there's where I was. Crimezilla told Ruckus, your expertise in the police field is invaluable. Absolutely. Ruckus is also still working cases, but can't share much yet. Absolutely understandable, sir. Absolutely. Out doing the good work. You, Mr. Steve, out doing the good work. Boots on the ground. All right. See what we have next. Now we have a West Virginia missing Melanie Metheny. Get her article. It's hot in here, as usual. Let's see. There's the one I'm looking for. So is everybody still hearing and seeing me reasonably well? I hadn't got kicked out. StreamYard hasn't kicked me out again, so I'm assuming everything is going okay. All right, so like I said, this is from West Virginia. This is from NBC News from give her that sidebar. Come on, don't freeze up on me. There we go. This is from July 19th, 2025. So in 2005, Catherine Moles hosted the family cookout. Her niece, Melanie Metheny, who is there on the slide, brought her 3-year-old son, Ryan. Catherine remembers Melanie trailing after him around the event and doting on him. Catherine told Dateline she followed him everywhere. She was just very, very watchful of him. She was very protective. But that was one of the last times that Catherine ever saw her niece. The 21-year-old vanished on July 19th, 2006. So this is going on 25 years now. My math is probably not right. Catherine remembers Melanie as a cautious, animal-loving mom whose kids were her entire world. So when Melanie disappeared about a year later and people started to wonder if she had run off, Catherine says that she knew better. She said there's no way that lady would have left any of her children. So in March of 2006, Melanie wrote a tribute to her children that was later found among her belongings, titled "The Best Things in My Life." The opening line reads, quote, "My whole life revolves around my 3 kids." She then gushes about Ryan, his younger brother and sister, Nathan and Hannah. She says, being a simple mom is not easy. Being a single mom is not easy at all, but watching my kids grow up and watching them learn new things for the first time is the greatest feeling that I have ever had. She closed the tribute, "I would not change them for the world, and I don't know where I would be right now if I did not have them, but I know my life wouldn't have as much meaning." Debbie, who's Debbie? Debbie told Dateline Melanie wanted to give her kids the best childhood they could have because hers had been tumultuous, bouncing back and forth between her divorced parents' homes. She had run away multiple times as a teenager, but she would always come back. According to her mother, Melanie turned her life around when she got pregnant with Ryan at 16. While Catherine remembers Melanie as a quiet girl, Debbie, did it say who Debbie was? Hold on, I'm confused. I'm assuming Debbie is another family member. I might have missed something. Anyway, Debbie told so while Catherine remembers Melanie as a quiet girl, Debbie saw a different side of her. She says Debbie may be the mother. So she says Melanie was outgoing, loved to be the center of attention, and would always sing and dance. She fondly remembers a 4-year-old Melanie working hard to learn the lyrics to Three Little Fishies so she could perform it for her grandfather. While Debbie and Catherine may have seen different parts of Melanie's personality, the sisters, it's the sisters. Okay, they're sisters. The sisters agree she never would have run off and left her children behind. Debbie said once she had those kids, she was not going anywhere. July 19th, 2006 began like any other day for Melanie. She dropped off her two youngest children at Country Kids Daycare in Bell, West Virginia, and Ryan spent that day with his paternal grandparents. Dateline spoke with Larry Dodson, a retired captain of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, who still works part-time at its detective bureau. He says that after dropping off her kids, Melanie drove to a friend's house nearby and then allegedly planned to head to Garnet Career Center to pick up some transcripts to bring to West Virginia State University. Debbie said she wanted to be a nurse or an OBGYN or something to do with kids. That's just pretty much who she was. Melanie never made it to the career center, nor did she return to the daycare to pick up the two children that were in the daycare. To my knowledge, that was Melanie who was supposed to pick them up, and when she didn't, that initiated all of this, and that's according to law enforcement. And he says Melanie was reported missing by her father at 11:18 p.m. The Kanawha County Sheriff's Office began searching for Melanie immediately, and a bolo for her van was issued to local departments. Tips began flooding in. Dodson says they received so many tips that he, quote, doesn't have a clue as to the full amount, but says investigators pursued each one. 4 days into the investigation, a tip came into police that a vehicle had been found on the west side of Charleston, West Virginia, where it had been parked for several days. Sorry. Sorry. My other brother was sending me a text. It was dinging in my ear. So a tip came in that a vehicle had been found on the west side of Charleston, West Virginia, where it had been parked for several days, and it was Melanie's van. Law enforcement Dodson said there was no indication of anything out of the ordinary in the van, and we took it into custody. He also told Dateline that the only fingerprints on the van were Melanie's and her boyfriend's, both of whom used it regularly. Dodson says the location of Melanie's car sparked some interest for the police. Dodson said we were kind of like, why in the world would her van be where it was? And once again, I don't know how far, the distance between where she was last seen or where she was at and where the van was found on the west side of Charleston, West Virginia. Ultimately, the van did not give the police much to go on, so they focused on other tips. Bill Daniel, who is Melanie's stepfather, told Dateline the police have been extremely dedicated to Melanie's case. He says they have been fantastic. They follow up on every lead that comes in and everything. Larry Dodson elaborated on some of the investigative efforts. He says, we have pursued leads about possible substance involvement. We pursued leads with local people that she was involved with. We pursued leads to the state of Maryland and up to D.C. They even pursued leads on several states along the East Coast about alleged sightings, and all of them just ran into a dead end. Nothing came of them. Dodson says several persons of interest have been investigated. He says some of them were cleared. Some of them could possibly still be persons of interest. He would not comment further on potential persons of interest, but did confirm that foul play is suspected, unfortunately, in Melanie's disappearance. Dodson says we're still getting tips and getting calls on to check here, to check there. It's not an everyday thing, but we still get tips to follow up on. The department does not consider Melanie's case to be cold and is still hoping to provide her family the answers that they need. Dodson says, I don't know if you can give closure where you can't even tell what happened or where they are or if they're still alive. The family is always going to wonder. Debbie Daniels says that wondering, that not knowing, has created a great deal of stress. She says it just deteriorates your health, your mental health, your physical health. She told Dateline that before her daughter disappeared, so Debbie is the mother, okay. That before her daughter disappeared, people always remarked on her smile. Debbie says, I would be the person that people would say, I want to smack you because you're always smiling. Now I hardly smile anymore. It just breaks my heart. Debbie still has a hard time talking about what happened to Melanie, which is why she rarely agrees to be interviewed about it. She says, my mind just totally goes blank when it comes to talking about it. I don't know if it's a survival mechanism or something. My mind just totally goes blank. But of course, that doesn't mean that she has forgotten Melanie, and the community has not forgotten Melanie either. So apparently, Melanie's is the oldest missing persons case in Kanawha. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Kanawha County. In 2016, decade after her disappearance, a tree was planted in Melanie's honor at Coonskin Park in Charleston. It is an autumn gold ginkgo biloba, which is known for its strength and resilience and has come to symbolize hope. It is also known for its brilliant yellow leaves, and apparently yellow is the color for missing persons. I'd never heard that before. Debbie says, and so we chose that tree mainly because of what it represented, the different representations of the tree, but also that in fall, the leaves are yellow. Melanie's aunt, Catherine, lives near the park and frequently visits the tree to take care of it. She says, every time I'm around the tree, I think of Melanie. That's just probably just too much to really remember. There's just probably just too much to really remember. Every time I visit, something new comes to mind. So Catherine is the administrator of a Facebook group called West Virginia Missing, and I will, when I get done with this article, I'll try to go and get the link and put it in the chat. That she updates regularly with information on local missing persons. Inspired to help the families of other missing persons, in 2014, she began working to create a bill that was eventually sponsored by State Senator Glenn Jeffries. In 2019, the West Virginia Missing Persons Act became a law. Catherine says it basically defines what role, what information is needed to be collected if possible. And the most important thing was that a missing person's information was to be entered into a NamUs, National Missing and Unidentified Person System database. That was my main goal. The bill also advocated for stronger police to family communication during a missing persons investigation. Catherine told Dateline that Melanie was with her every step of the way through the bill's creation. Now she's working on drafting a new piece of legislation that protects the property of missing persons so that they don't lose their property because of missed payments while they were missing. So that's another thing that I just had never thought about, when it comes to missing persons. Catherine says sometimes these missing people are found and they don't want to come back to find out that they're homeless because their home was repoed. That had just never ever crossed my mind when talking about missing persons. Catherine said, adding that she wants to protect their estate for the missing and their heirs. She is hopeful that legislation of this kind will help locate some of the missing and provide some measure of peace to other families, peace their family is still waiting for. Melanie's children are now in their early 20s, roughly the same age their mother was when she disappeared in 2006. Hannah, Melanie's daughter, has a little girl of her own now. The 1-year-old has strawberry blonde hair, just like her mother, and just like the grandmother that she never met. So at the time of her disappearance, Melanie Metheny was 5'3" tall. She weighed around 100 pounds, with strawberry blonde hair and brown eyes. She will be 40 years old as of 2025. Anyone with information regarding Melanie's case is asked to contact the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office at 304-357-0200. So just another heartbreaking case, as they all are. Right. That was a long read, but very, very important. Let me get back down in comments. Okay, there's where I left off. Frank says, if Ruckus stays away from his channel anymore, he'll be considered a missing person. Thank you, Mr. Ruckus, for being here. He says he's got to run. Don't take any wooden nickels. Oh, man, my grandpa used to say that. Thank you, Ruckus, for dropping in. Please do check out Ruckus. Absolutely. Which case is that? I hadn't watched Ken in a while. And Chris said the case that Ken Maines did a video about is kind of crazy. Which case was that? I used to watch his channel's called Unsolved No More. I used to watch his channel all the time, but then I think he was doing a TV show or something. I don't know. But yeah, which case is it? And I may wander over there and take a look at it. Yes, Miss Peggy says it's so sad. More missing every day. We only hear about some, more we don't hear about. Absolutely. Yep. There's Sunday Doodles. Sunday Doodles. Hello, hello. Good to have you here. Yep. I'll be Frank says all we can do is keep their names out there and hope the tips come in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Miss Barbara says a person goes missing every 40 seconds in the U.S. That's just horrifying to think about. Just, yep, we're going to talk about that a little later. Yeah, Miss Paula says thoughts and prayers to Hulk Hogan's family and friends. Yeah, we've lost 3 within the last week. We got Ozzy Osbourne passed away. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away, and then now Hulk Hogan has passed away. So they're just, they say they always go in threes. So, but yeah, at the end we're going to talk a little bit about those 3 that passed away, especially for us 80s kids, because well, Ozzy's been around and famous forever, and of course Malcolm Jamal Warner was on the Cosby Show, and Hulk Hogan was really, really big back in the 80s. So I grew up. I used to watch wrestling on a regular basis, up until probably after the Attitude Era and WWE was over. We didn't watch it as regularly, maybe for a little bit, but yeah, I grew up watching Hulk. Yep, also Ozzy. Oh, Frank says he's just outside of Birmingham, UK. Excellent. Chris says Jean. Oh, is that the one? Jean Doherty. This one says Jean is missing from near Lisa Joe. Oh, that's right. Yep, because that was the one from Minnesota. Was it Silver Lake, Silver Bay, Silver something, Minnesota. Yep. Thank you, Crimezilla, for being here. So they're heading to bed. Thank you all. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for dropping in. You talking about this case, Paula? She says, Miss Paula says, do they have any suspects? I think in Melanie's case, they had some persons of interest. Let me go back and find it. Turn my camera off while I'm finding it. Sorry. I had beeping in my ear again. Let me go back. I'm just skimming. I know it said, I think it was in Melanie's case, they had some persons of interest. Maybe it's further down. No. Hold on. I'm scrolling as fast as I can here. Oh my goodness. Maybe it was at the beginning. Yeah, I think in Melanie's case, law enforcement said they have some persons of interest. Some of the persons of interest have been ruled out, and some have not been ruled out. So Larry Dodson was a retired captain of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. He was the one talking about it. So they pursued leads about possible substance involvement, local people that she was involved with. Okay, so Dodson says several persons of interest have been investigated. He says some of them were cleared and some of them could possibly still be persons of interest. So I don't know about if any hard suspects, but yes, they do have definitely persons of interest. Just getting through comments. Yes, absolutely. Stay hydrated. Take care of yourself. Yes, that is just I just can't wrap my mind around 40, every 40 seconds. Was it Miss, somebody goes missing every 40 seconds in the U.S. That's fine, Miss Peggy. Thank you, I'll be frank. Says got to go. Have a good night, all you too. Take care. There's patriotism. Hello, hello, friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much. We appreciate all the love we can get around here. And we do get lots of love around here. This is a wonderful community. Mustang says they can't watch wrestling anymore. They talk too much. I know. And see, back in the day, back in my day, talking like an old person, which I am, but they did promos, cut promos, which is, in the wrestling vernacular, that's what they call it, cutting promos, when they're doing interviews or talking to each wrestlers, jabbing with each other, talking to each other. They did that, but it just seems like more and more these days, just a little bit, I might just flip through, and if I happen to catch something on, I might watch a little bit of it, but that's all it is. It's talking, talking, talking. I enjoy the matches too, obviously, but I enjoyed the promos, the talking, but yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit too much. I agree. Okay, we're caught up, so we will see what we have next. So we have a missing person that has been identified, or the remains have been identified. Let me get the article. Find the right article. Okay, this one is from Oklahoma. It's from people.com from the July 16th. A human remains identified 4 years after Oklahoma man disappeared, as family says they, quote, still need answers. Absolutely. The remains, let me take that off. The remains of an Oklahoma man who disappeared 4 years ago have been found. Dakota Covington was reported missing from the Meade area of Oklahoma on April 29th of 2021. And this is according to a news release shared on Facebook by the Bryan County Sheriff's Office. Covington, who was 27 years old at the time of his disappearance, was described by family as a homebody who kept to himself, according to a local news affiliate. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and black shoes. Dakota's, sorry, I'm trying to close that ads. Dakota's father, Scott, previously said that he saw his son just before leaving for work, but that Covington was gone by the time he returned later that day. In February, the BCSO, the sheriff's office, received information regarding the possible discovery of human remains in the southwestern portion of Bryan County. And this is where Meade is located. Deputies responded to the location and found, quote, clothing items consistent with what a missing person from Bryan County had been reported to be wearing. The area was immediately secured, and on February 22nd, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, or the OSBI, forensic team announced that they had, quote, located human remains at the scene. The remains were then sent to the OSBI lab for identification, and nearly 5 months later, on July 10th, OSBI confirmed that the remains were positively identified as belonging to Dakota. So Dakota's COD is under investigation, according to authorities who are continuing to follow up on leads and gather information related to the case. In April, Felicity Covington, who is Dakota's sister, said being contacted by police after the remains were found, had opened up old wounds and took away the hope. It's like Miss Barbara says, it's that bittersweet, bittersweet. She says, if you don't have a body, you can still hold on to the hope that there is not going to be one, she told a local news affiliate. After his remains were identified, he was remembered by his family as an amazing son, grandson, brother, uncle, and friend. His mom, Terry, says he was all of our best friend and rock. His siblings miss him terribly. We will all miss him terribly and still need answers to what happened to my baby. They may have found his remains, but we still do not know what happened to him. So a GoFundMe has been created to help cover funeral expenses. So anyone with information regarding Dakota's disappearance or a death are asked to contact the BCSO at 580-924-3000. So like I said, it's like Miss Barbara always says, it's bittersweet, and she would know, dealing with what happened to Timmy. It's just so hard, obviously. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Talking about the the announcers talk too much too in wrestling. Yeah, it is. Wrestling's not fake, Miss Barbara. I knew when I was like back in the early 80s when we first started watching Mid-South wrestling here in Arkansas. And I was probably, I don't even know how, I don't know if Echoes is still here. We were young, and we knew it was fake. But it's still fun to watch. It's wrestling entertainment. But that's cool that they worked at them. Yeah, Mustang asked Miss Barbara, did they like working for them? That would be cool. Yeah, my baby sister-in-law's dad was an EMT, and he was law enforcement and EMT. But back in the day when wrestling would come to Barton Coliseum and places like that, he would be there in an EMT capacity in case something happened. So he got to know a lot of the wrestlers. So that's pretty cool. All right. Let's see what we got next. Another missing person, Haley Brienne Murphy. Let me get her article going. Oh, goodness. I don't know if I like these folders on my bookmarks. Okay, so I think that is it. Let me get a drink. So this case is from 2023. So a couple years ago, June 2023. All right, so this is from NBC News. Get rid of that. And it is from, what is it from? These are just stories, things I come across that saved up in my browser. From February of 2024 is when this article is from. Family and friends push to find answers in 22-year-old Army veteran's mysterious disappearance. So 22-year-old Haley Murphy was last seen on June 16, 2023, when her sister dropped her off for a night out in Austin, Texas. So it's a Texas case. Harley Murphy has not seen her sister, 22-year-old Haley Murphy, since dropping her off at a bar for a night out in Austin, Texas on Friday, June 16th, 2023. So it's I was going to say it's a Friday the 13th, but it was 16th. So Haley is an Army veteran, a mother to a 2-year-old boy, and a beloved daughter and sister. Haley's mother, Becky, told Dateline that when Haley was in the Army, one of her responsibilities was to go out to the barracks and check on the female soldiers. One of those soldiers was Vanessa Guillen. So most of us have heard of this case, who went missing from Fort Hood on April 22nd, 2020. According to Becky, Haley was the one who originally noted that she had not seen Vanessa in a while, and when her roommate had not seen her either, that's when the search for Vanessa began. Months later, Vanessa's remains were found buried in a shallow grave. So Dateline covered Vanessa's story in the episode Voices from Vanessa, which aired in November of 2020. Becky told Dateline that Haley was in the Army for about 3 years before she was medically discharged due to hip problems. According to Becky, Haley pivoted and had just started her first semester as a business student while also studying for her real estate license. We've always been really close ever since we were kids because we are only 2 years apart. Harley, who's her sister, told Dateline about her relationship with her older sister. Harley said that on June 16th, she dropped her sister off at an Austin bar called Slick Willie's around 9 p.m. She recalls seeing Haley get into another car with a male friend, and she has not seen her sister since. However, Harley did speak with her sister once more that night. Harley says it was raining that night, and about an hour after I left, she had called me and was checking to see if I had gotten home safe because it was raining so bad. The power at the bar she was at had went out. Harley said that she could tell that when she spoke with her that Haley was at a bar by the background sounds. On the day that she went missing, Haley told Becky that she was changing her phone number. Becky says, we had a conversation on the 16th early in the morning. I had just woken up to get ready for work. It was probably about 6:30 in the morning, and she had texted me telling me that she was changing her cell phone number. And I texted her back and asked her why. And she said, quote, just because too many people have my number and I just want to change it. So I'm wondering now I haven't deep dived into this case. I'm going to look into it, obviously. So I don't know if she was just telling her sister that, or if there was maybe a specific person or persons that maybe she was having problems with. So Becky said she called Haley after that, and they talked for about 45 minutes. They discussed Haley's plans for the weekend, which included potentially going to see her ex-boyfriend for his birthday. According to Becky, Haley was going to stay the night with a friend after going out on June 16th, and then the following morning, she was supposed to pick up a rental car to drive to her ex-boyfriend's birthday party. She never picked the car up, and she did not attend the party. Haley was not supposed to be back until after the weekend, so her family was not initially concerned that they hadn't heard from her for a couple of days. By Sunday, though, Becky was getting concerned. She says, Harley says, my mom had called me and she was like, have you heard from Haley? And Harley was like, no, but I texted her yesterday. I just figured that she would get back to me when she can because I know that she was out of town. The family said they really began to worry when their texts stopped going through to Haley's phone. On Monday, June 19th of 2023, Haley's mother and sister tried to contact her through social media. Harley says, me and my mom blew up her social media. We were like, hey, if you don't get in contact with us, we're going to call the police and file the missing persons report. When they didn't hear back, that's just what Becky said they did. On Tuesday, June 20th, she filed a police report with the Austin Police Department. And according to Becky, the case was turned over to the Texas Rangers on the evening of June 21st. The Texas Rangers told Dateline that they, quote, began a missing person investigation in Austin, Travis County, Texas on June 25th of 2023. They provided information that is currently available to the public at the time this article was written, and confirmed that the quote investigation continues. But at that time, they would not go into further detail to protect the investigation, which is standard, normal. Dateline also reached out to the Austin Police Department at that time, but they did not hear back from them. Becky said the family and friends have, quote, plastered social media with Haley's photo. They hung flyers all over Austin. We went everywhere and put them everywhere, in the hospitals, all kinds of stuff. According to Becky, some people did come forward and said they were at another bar, Eddie's Tavern, Round Rock, on June 16th and saw Haley there playing darts. Eddie's is about 15 miles from Slick Willie's, where Harley had dropped her sister off earlier in the evening. They recognized my daughter's picture from all the flyers and stuff, and said that they left Eddie's Tavern around 11:30 that night. Haley was reportedly with the same friend that she had gotten into the car with at Slick Willie's. Darren, a close friend of Haley's, told Dateline that he found out that she was missing through social media. He reached out to Becky to see if it was true that she had disappeared. Darren says she was in contact with someone that was close to her on a daily basis. That really piqued my curiosity as to what was going on. And so that's when I said I reached out, and that was one of the things that I said to her mother when we spoke, was that is completely out of character for her. I'm assuming he means not being in touch with people that she was close to. Darren told Dateline he got to work trying to help Haley's family search for her. He said he assisted in getting her case entered into the statewide missing persons database for Texas. He said Haley would never be out of contact with her family and friends for this long. Darren says we laughed and joked, and everything we did was really fun. Becky says Haley is the life of the party. She likes to be seen. She is a princess for sure. Becky also says she's a good mom. Her son was everything to her. Everything was about him. Everything she ever did in her life was for him. The family is hoping that Haley will come home to her 2-year-old son, who misses her dearly. According to the Texas Department of Public Safety Missing Persons Clearinghouse, Haley is 5 foot tall, 130 pounds. She has short blonde hair, hazel eyes, and multiple brightly colored tattoos. She'll be 23 years old, which I think this article is a couple years old. So she'll be in her mid to late 20s. She was last seen wearing a light purple t-shirt, light colored jean shorts, and light purple Vans. So if you have any information on Haley's whereabouts, if you happen to see something, hear something, if you've seen Haley, if you saw her that night, please contact the Texas Rangers at 512-424-2160 or the Texas Department of Public Safety Missing Persons Clearinghouse at 512-424-5074. So it's just horrible. And I find it, I won't say interesting, but not interesting in a good way, that she, let me go back, that she was stationed with Vanessa again. Once again, I don't know. I apologize if I'm pronouncing her last name wrong. That's just gives me shivers up my spine, because that Vanessa's case was horrible, obviously. All right, I'll turn my sound off for one. Okay, sorry. Had to blow my nose. My allergies are getting to me as usual. Let me find where I left off here. I think I went too far. Miss Barbara said her boys liked working with the wrestlers. Yeah, they told me it was fake. Yeah. And Mustang says, my bro would argue with you about it, but I always thought it was fake. Yes, it's entertainment. Wrestling or sports entertainment. Miss Paula says, I didn't watch wrestling back then, but I catch a couple on TV when the rest of my family was watching. Yep. Oh, yeah, you definitely have to have skills. Yeah, you have to be athletic. Absolutely. Because you got to, I mean, especially, oh, God, back in the day, it was the Lucha Libres. Oh, my God, like little Rey Mysterio Jr. Oh, my God, I love watching just the things that they could do were just, you can't tell me that's not athleticism, skill, just amazing, amazing stuff. Yeah, you the real, as I've heard a wrestler say, when they're doing what they call shoot interviews, which is talking basically real life, that the only thing real about wrestling is the long hours on the road traveling and the injuries, and the skill, the athleticism. Yep. Because they do get hurt. Some injuries aren't real. It's part of the storyline, but then a lot of injuries are real that they have to work into the storyline. So yeah, yeah, I have all the respect in the world for the wrestlers, for the athletes, most definitely. Yeah, Chris says Vanessa's case was very upsetting. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's see what I got next. Okay, so now we'll get into unfortunately, we've had three. They always say, always heard that they go in threes. So we've had three within the last week. I think it's the last week at the very least. And I have these in no particular order. So I think Ozzy was first, and then Malcolm Jamal Warner, and then Hulk Hogan. So let me find this article. Come on, so slow. So like I said, Malcolm Jamal Warner, best known for, he was on the Cosby Show, played Theo on the Cosby Show back in the day. There's the article. So just a little article. I've just got little articles on, and he actually drowned. It's just, I mean, it's horrible, obviously, when anybody passes, but Ozzy, he had Parkinson's. He was 76 years old, which granted, that's not that old, but considering you got to factor in the lifestyle also that Ozzy, when we get to Ozzy, his lifestyle, I'm surprised. I don't mean to be crass when I say this, but I'm surprised Ozzy made it through like the 70s and 80s, honestly. But anyway, this is from people.com. It is from July 24th, so yesterday. And so they're going to clarify some things, because I think at first it said that his daughter was also in the water, but now they've said that she was not in the water. So he was in Costa Rica on a family vacation. They were out swimming somewhere, and they're pretty sure he got caught up in what they call riptide. It's just unfortunate, awful. So Costa Rican officials are providing new details that clarify the timeline of events that led to Malcolm Jamal Warner's death on Monday, July 21st. He was my age. He was 54 years old. So in a new statement obtained by People on Thursday, July 24th, Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency, OIJ, told People that Warner's daughter was not in the water with him when he drowned. The statement, which was translated from Spanish to English, says, quote, Mr. Warner was playing with his daughter at the seashore at one point. He then left her He then left her out of the water, so she was not in the water. And he and a friend of his entered the sea. It was at that moment that they were swept away by the current, and the friend that he was out there with managed to get out. However, Mr. Warner was unable to get out. He was pulled out by several people on the beach, pulled to the beach. He did receive care from Red Cross officials, but he was pronounced deceased at the scene. Just, I can imagine. I'm sure his wife was there too, and his little girl, just having to watch this. I just can't. I can't. So the OIJ previously confirmed to people that Warner's COD was ruled asphyxiation by submersion or drowning. Warner's body was formally identified by the Costa Rican National Police and will be, quote, removed from the judicial morgue by a funeral service company hired and authorized by Mr. Warner's family. Dr. Maurizio Solano Carella, medical director for the Talamanca Health Area, previously confirmed that a 29-year-old man from Nicaragua, I can't say it, Nicaragua, was at the scene attempting to rescue Warner. This man was, quote, treated, found to be stable, and was discharged without complication. The investigation remains ongoing. Warner is survived by his wife and his daughter. Warner was best known for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. His other credits include The Resident, Community, Malcolm and Eddie, Major Crimes, and 911. He also co-hosted the podcast Not All Hood with his friend Candace Kelly. Kelly told People in an exclusive interview, quote, his other biggest mission besides his family was just being a good person. He wanted to be remembered like that. He has said that. He just wants to be remembered as a good person. And by all accounts, he's got that down. He really did. That was really sincere. Yeah, so I've never really heard anything, because, you hear things about some people who are in the business show, whether it be music or show, television, movies. But I've never really heard anything bad or about Malcolm, or anybody, any nefarious stuff, So whenever, because my thing is, whenever you don't hear about anything, it's usually true. Now, that's not always the case, but like I said, I'd never really heard anybody come out and say anything bad or anything against him. So, but I have watched, obviously, I watched The Cosby Show back in the day, and read interviews and with him, and watched interviews with him, afterwards in the later years, and he just came off as a good person, It's just very, very sad. So Chris said, okay, so go back to Haley. See, I thought about this too. On Haley's case, I wonder if the person that she was with posed as a friend but revealed their true colors. See, I thought about that too. And I'm going to hope, that they checked out this friend. Because it said, I think in the article that I read, it said that witnesses saw her at another bar after the Slick Willies. I can't remember what the other bar was called, and she was with the same male friend that she was seen getting into the car with at the Slick Willies. But now that doesn't mean something possibly could have happened after that. We're just, So I wonder that too, Chris. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm sure, law enforcement did their due diligence and questioned this person. Sorry, my nose is itching. All right. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Echoes, which is my brother, for anybody who doesn't know. Did you tell everyone, not yet, how you almost lost your Ozzy shirt at the concert back in the day? Yes, we went to see Ozzy on I believe it's probably the No More Tears tour. One and only time I got to see Ozzy, but I'm thankful I got to see him once. Yes, I bought a T-shirt, because back in the day, and this was in probably what mid-90s, whenever No More Tours, No More Tears came out. I mean, you could get a concert ticket for $10 or $15, and you get a T-shirt for $10 or $15. So if you had $20, $30, you were set. You got the ticket and you got a T-shirt, and that's all I cared about. And of course, going to the concert and seeing whoever, But yes, I got a T-shirt, and I was standing up, of course, and I just had a T-shirt laying and we were sitting probably on the lowest level of seats. So there was a bar. There was a walkway and a bar right behind our seats because we were on like the very top of the lowest level of seating, if that makes any sense. And of course, there were people standing on the railing or by the railing watching. And this girl tried to, and I just had my shirt laying in my seat behind me because I was standing up. And this girl tried to steal my shirt, my Aussie shirt. So we had a tug of war over it for I don't know how long, but I won. She did not get my Aussie shirt. That's the only time at all of the concerts that I've ever been to, especially back in the day, because back in the day we went to every, metal rock, back then, hair band concert that came to Barton Coliseum, and always got a T-shirt, and that's the only time I ever had somebody try to steal my dang shirt, but she didn't get it. She did not get it. So thank you for reminding me of that. Oh, goodness. Good old days. Good old days. See, if that would have happened like these days, unfortunately, you might get cut. Somebody might get cut, trying to take a T-shirt or get a T-shirt back. Yes, we went to lots and lots of concerts. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, went lots and lots of concerts. I mean, it's probably at least once or twice a month back then that we went to a concert. Probably at least once a month or once every other month. I mean, just so many concerts. And it was always, you had a good opening band and you had a good headliner. I mean, and sometimes if you were lucky, you got three bands, especially with the hair bands. They would you would have three touring together, so you got to see three. You got a three for Miss Paula wants to know, did anyone get kicked out of the concert? Oh yeah, I don't know if she did. After I got my shirt back, she kind of disappeared into the crowd. But oh yeah, people would get kicked out regularly because you'd have, the usual that we have now, maybe not, the drinking and the fighting and, which I don't know. We hardly ever got on the floor because this was back when you had no seating on the floor. It was just a free for all on the floor. I think I remember maybe twice that we actually got on the floor. One of those times, I can't remember what concert it was. Echoes will probably remind me. Yeah, this one. Who are we seeing? We were at the very front, right on the barricades when you had those wooden barricades, See, now with you have paid seating on the floor. Now, I think at some rock concerts now you do have like a mosh pit area, but for the most part you have paid seating, so they just have those metal barricades. But back in the day when it was a free for all, you just had the big like wooden barrier, and then you of course have the security. But yes, we were seeing somebody, and God, I can't remember who it was. But yeah, the barricades started giving away because the security were leaning back against the stage with their feet propped up against the barricades. Whoever was I was thinking Cinderella, but it may not be. Whoever was up singing at the time, the singer stopped the concert and said, "Hey, I need y'all to take a step back. We got problems up here. People are getting crushed, the barriers." So we finally made it out alive. Yes, maybe that's what it was. It might have been Rap, Brittany Fox, and Kicks. I think so. That might have been what it was. Yeah, because whoever was on stage at the time, the singer, they stopped and said, "Hey, take a step back. we got, people up here getting crushed, the barrier, or giving way. So we got the heck out. We went up and got in some seats. But yeah, that's probably the only time I've ever been scared at a concert. And probably after that, I probably did not go back on the floor. I know I was down at least one other time. I don't know if it was before or after that, but I do remember it was Slaughter and somebody else. They were, I remember it was Slaughter. I can't remember who else. I don't know. We went to so many concerts back in the day. I can't remember separate all of them. Yes, we did enjoy the rest of the concert. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you said we did go back down on the floor after that? That might have been the Slaughter. I don't remember. Yes, he was. Miss Paula says Mark Slaughter was hot as heck back then. Yes, ma'am. I remember we handed out, we got to meet them. Me and Echoes got to meet them, actually. It was, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. It was after the guitar, Tim got killed, their guitar player. But we have at Riverfront Park, they used to do a summer concert series. And it was Slaughter and 2 or 3 other bands. And afterwards, Slaughter was signing the autograph, so we got to go down and get their autograph and meet them and talk to them. And I gave Dana a hug. He was my favorite. Of course, I liked old Slaughter. I mean, we were handing out flyers for Slaughter before Slaughter was big, because I was in the fan club. So I would get mailed. Back then, we had pen pals when you actually wrote letters to people. And so I would mail, and then I would buy the magazines that had people's addresses that wanted to be pen pals. So even if they weren't my pen pal, I would stick a flyer in an envelope, address it to go through all the addresses, send that, hey, have you heard of this band? And I'm not even live anywhere close to them. They're from where were they from? California? I can't remember where they were from. So yeah, we were big supporters of Slaughter before they made it to the big time, And I think we told them that when we met them. We're like, I think Mako said, you remember y'all how many flyers I had? And every time we would go to a concert at Barton, we would take flyers with us and hand them out to everybody, Slaughter flyers. And I've got a whole scrapbook of just nothing but Slaughter memorabilia. I have a big poster that they autographed for me and sent to me. I have a smaller promo picture that they sent to me, signed, and then I have the picture that they signed when we met them, and just all sorts of stuff. So yeah, Slaughter has always been one of my, and still is, one of my favorite groups. Okay, Echo says Slaughter and Warrant headlines because Poison didn't play. Are you talking about when we met Slaughter? Why didn't Poison play? Yes, we enjoyed the rest of that concert. From the stands, absolutely. Yeah, Miss Paula says I have their albums on cassette tape from way back. I do too. I have. Man, I wish I could find. I have a cassette tape, a box carrier with just full of cassette tapes. Absolutely. Man, I miss the good old days going to concerts. Oh goodness, the good old days. And they'll have their CDs. Okay, you still talking about Poison? So the singer was sick or something, but they came back a few months later on Halloween. Oh, Warrant, yes, because Warrant was dressed up. Can't remember what they were dressed up as. Yeah, we were on the front row then. Yes, I have pictures. Yes, because I have pictures from that concert. Yeah, it was Poison, Warrant. Yeah, I had pictures that I took. So we were on the front. Yes, exactly. Yes, because I was just looking at those the other day. I was looking through that photo album. Oh man, I loved Warrant. Warrant is all. I still listen to Warrant. I still listen to most of the 80s bands from back then. Absolutely. Absolutely. Loved Warrant. Then unfortunately, a lot of them are, well, I don't know, because Janie Lane passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. But there's been more because hair bands, late 80s, early 90s hair bands will always be my favorite. And then like the early 80s, Duran Duran, My First Love, My First Crush, they're still one of my favorite bands. But as hair bands transitioned out, then you had grunge. So I love grunge. I listen to grunge alternative, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all those like that. But a lot of those more grunge alternative rock have passed away actually than like the 80s and 90s hairband type people. It's just amazing. Not amazing in a good way, obviously, but anyway, enough of my babbling. I could talk about this all night long. Echoes, you're gonna have to come. Well, next time we have a fun live stream about music, you have to come up here with me and talk about music with me, and anybody else who wants to come up and talk music. Speaking of music, I hadn't seen JP tonight, and JP has a different channel now for anybody. It's called The Forgotten Artist. I think if not, I think I've shared his link on my community tab. It's called The Forgotten Artist, the.forgotten.artist. Something about, I don't know, something about distribution and legal stuff, I guess. But he's still making music, good stuff over there. Yeah. Yeah. Echo says, come up here and do a live stream. The internet is better. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Love Bret Michaels. Yeah, and Bret Michael, Poison, I've probably seen the most. The band I've seen the most times is Poison and Bret Michaels. I've probably seen Bret Michaels solo, the Bret Michaels band, as it's called now, more times than I actually saw Poison, the original members of Poison back in the day. But Bret's coming here pretty soon, within the next month or so. He's coming back. Me and my mom went to see him last year before at the Oaklawn, the casino in Hot Springs, and he's coming back. So we're trying to decide if we're gonna go see him or not. All right, so Ozzy also passed away. He was the next one. He was the second one to go. Hold on, let me find my bookmarks. Find the article. Oh, come on. There he is. Okay. Let me get another drink. So I know Ozzy may be an acquired taste for anybody who doesn't like metal music, but I was an Ozzy fan first because whenever Blizzard of Oz was his first solo album, came out in the 80s. And then of course is when I discovered him. Then of course I went back and listened to Black Sabbath, which I'd listened to some Black Sabbath in school because I had a friend that she liked Black Sabbath, so we listened to some. I listened to it every once in a while with her. But yeah, I really was, introduced to Ozzy in the 80s during his solo. But this is from the AP. And it is from it says updated July 23rd. So Ozzy Osbourne, who led Black Sabbath and became the godfather of heavy metal, passes away at 76. And this was just 2 weeks after they did that. He did that final concert with all the original members of Black Sabbath. It's 2 weeks. So Ozzy Osbourne, the gloomy, demon-invoking lead singer of the pioneer band Black Sabbath, who became the throaty, growling voice and substance and alcohol ravaged of heavy metal, passed away Tuesday, just 2 weeks after his farewell show, and he was 76. A family statement read, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time." And like I said, this was a family statement from Birmingham. And so he did have Parkinson's. In 2020, he revealed that he did have Parkinson's after suffering a fall. And then a few years ago, they have that horrible four-wheeler crash that almost took him out. So between that, he had to have surgeries on his back for that. And then, of course, he had Parkinson's. So either clad in black or bare-chested, the singer was often the target of parents' groups for his imagery and once caused an uproar for biting the head off a bat. Later, he would reveal himself to be a doddering and sweet father on the reality TV show The Osbournes. And we watched every single episode of The Osbournes. It came on in the middle 90s, sometime in the 90s it was on. We watched every episode of that multiple times. So Black Sabbath's 1969 self-titled debut LP has been likened to the Big Bang of heavy metal. It came out during the height of the Vietnam War and crashed the hippie party, dripping menace and foreboding. The cover of the record was of a spooky figure against a stark landscape. The music was loud, dense, and angry, and marked a shift in rock and roll. I'll get past all the ads. The band's second album, Paranoid, which might be my favorite Black Sabbath album, included such classic metal tunes as War Pigs, Iron Man, and Fairies Wear Boots. The song Paranoid only reached number 61 on the Billboard Hot 100, but became in many ways the band's signature song. Both albums were voted among the top 10 greatest heavy metal albums of all time by readers of Rolling Stone. Dave Navarro of the band Jane's Addiction, love Jane's Addiction, said, quote, "Black Sabbath are the Beatles of heavy metal. Anyone who's serious about metal will tell you it all comes down to Sabbath. There's a direct line you can draw back from today's metal through 80s bands like Iron Maiden back to Sabbath." So Sabbath fired Ozzy in 1979 for his legendary excesses, like showing up late for rehearsals and missing gigs. Terry Geezer Butler, who was the bassist of Black Sabbath, said, quote, "We knew we didn't really have a choice but to sack him because he was just so out of control. But we were all very down about the situation." And he wrote that in his memoir, Into the Void. So Osbourne reemerged the next year as a solo artist with Blizzard of Oz, and the following year's Diary of a Madman, both hard rock classics that went multi-platinum and spawned enduring favorites such as Crazy Train, one of my favorite songs in the whole world, Goodbye to Romance, Flying High Again, and You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Ozzy was twice inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, once with Sabbath in 2006, and again in 2024 as a solo artist. The original Sabbath lineup reunited for the first time in 20 years in July for what Osbourne said would be his final concert. Quote, "Let the madness begin," he told 42,000 fans in Birmingham. So Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, Tool, Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Hellstorm, Anthrax, Rival Sons, and Mastodon all did sets. Tom Morello, Aerosmith, Steven Tyler, Billy Corgan, Ronnie Wood, Travis Barker, Sammy Hagar, and more made appearances, and actor Jason Momoa was the host for the festivities. Pantera singer Phil Anselmo said, Black Sabbath, we'd all be different people without them, but that's the truth. I know I wouldn't be up here with a microphone in my hand without Black Sabbath. So Ozzy embodied the excess of metal. This is true. His outlandish exploits included relieving himself on the Alamo, snorting a line of ants off of a sidewalk, and he was with Motley Crue at the time he did that. And most memorably, biting the head off of a bat that a fan threw on stage during a 1981 concert. Now, he's always said he thought it was a fake bat, a rubber bat. So he was sued in 1987 by parents of a 19-year-old teen who took his own life while listening to his song, Suicide Solution. The lawsuit was dismissed. Osbourne said the song was really about the dangers of alcohol, which caused the death of his friend Bon Scott, who is the original lead singer of AC/DC. Then Cardinal John O'Connor of New York claimed in 1990 that Ozzy's songs led to demonic possession and even self-harm. Ozzy said, quote, "You are ignorant about the true meaning of my songs. You have also insulted the intelligence of rock fans all over the world." I would have to say I personally agree with that, because I have listened to a lot of Sabbath and a lot of Ozzy. I know all the lyrics, and people just interpret them whatever way for whatever narrative or message that they want to push. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Audiences at Osbourne shows could be mooned or spit on by the singer. They would often be hectored to scream along with the songs. But Ozzy would usually send the crowds home with their ears ringing and a hearty God bless. He started the annual tour Ozfest in 1996 after he was rejected from the lineup of what was the then top touring music festival, Lollapalooza. Ozfest has gone on to host such bands as Slipknot, Tool, Megadeth, Rob Zombie, System of a Down, Limp Bizkit, and Linkin Park. Osbourne's look changed little over his life. He wore his long hair flat, heavy black eye makeup, and round glasses, often wearing a cross around his neck. In 2013, he reunited with Black Sabbath for the Dower Raw 13, which reached #1 on the UK albums chart and peaked at number 86 on the US Billboard 200. In 2019, he had a top 10 hit when featured on Post Malone's Take What You Want, which was Ozzy's first song in the top 10 since 1989. In 2020, he released the album Ordinary Man. Stop it. Ads are popping up. Which had as its title song a duet with Elton John. Some of the lyrics: "I've been a bad guy, been higher up than the blue sky, and the truth is I don't want to die an ordinary man." It's a good song. In 2022, he landed his first career back-to-back #1 rock singles from his album Patient Number 9, which featured collaborations with Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Mike McCready, Chad Smith, Robert Trujillo, and Duff McKagan. It earned 4 Grammy nominations, winning 2, and Ozzy has won 5 Grammys over his lifetime. At the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony in 2024, Jack Black called him the greatest frontman in the history of rock and roll and the Jack Nicholson of rock. Osbourne thanked his fans, his guitarist Randy Rhodes, who unfortunately he was taken too soon. Love Randy Rhodes, and his longtime wife Sharon. So let's see, just going back through some of the origins of Black Sabbath. Let's see if it has anything else. So after Sabbath, Osbourne had an uncanny knack for calling some of the most creative young guitarists to his side. When he went solo, he hired the brilliant innovator Randy Rhodes, who played on 2 of Osbourne's finest solo albums, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Randy Rhodes was killed in a freak plane accident in 1982. And then Ozzy released a live album tribute in 1987 in his memory. Osbourne then signed Jake E. Lee, who lent his talents to the platinum albums Bark at the Moon and The Ultimate Sin. Then Zakk Wylde joined Ozzy's band for No Rest for the Wicked and the multi-platinum No More Tears. Osbourne said of his players in 1995 to the AP, they come along, they sprout wings, they blossom, and they fly off. But I have to move on to get a new player now and again, boost me on. Just goes through some of his antics during in his life. So yeah, it's just I was like I said, Ozzy's not for everybody. Black Sabbath's not for everybody. It just depends on your taste in music. But I've always, like I said, when Blizzard of Oz came out in the 80s, that's how I discovered Ozzy. And then of course I went back and listened to Black Sabbath more. So yeah, I was big fan of Ozzy. And I loved watching the Osbournes when it was on. And then here a few years ago on I can't remember what channel it was, if it was Travel Channel. Ozzy, Sharon, and Jack did a show called The Osbournes Want to Believe, and they looked into Jack would show them clips of like paranormal stuff, supposed UFOs, Bigfoot sightings, things of that nature, and it was a really good show. It was really funny. It just showed how really down to earth, and Ozzy was interested in all that stuff, that paranormal stuff, and the cryptids, and things of that nature. He was very interested in that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna miss Ozzy, and honestly, I once again don't want to sound crass, but I'm surprised Ozzy made it past the 70s and 80s with all the the substances and the drinking and just the lifestyle of a rock and roll star. But yeah, Ozzy will be missed, most definitely. Let's see what you guys have to say. And then we'll move on to Hulk Hogan. So that was the third one. Yes. Sunday says REO Speedwagon was one of my favorites too. Yes, I love REO Speedwagon. I've seen REO Speedwagon 3 times, I think. Because I think we saw them twice. We have I think it's coming back. They stopped doing it for a little while, but we have a thing called Riverfest down in Little Rock, North Little Rock, that they used to do every summer. They'd have bands playing every night and crafts and just things to do. And so I think we saw REO twice at Riverfest, and then they opened for, I think they came with Def Leppard. I think it was REO, Def Leppard, and Tesla, maybe, if I'm thinking right. So we saw them then. Very good. They were. I love REO. Always loved REO. Oh, Miss Paula says, when I saw Poison, I thought of Belle Biv DeVoe. Yes, the song Poison. I like that song. Miss Paula. Sunday says they love Ozzy. Absolutely. Yep, I saw that, Miss Paula. She said I put changes on both my Facebook and Instagram. Prayers to his family. Absolutely. Yes, I still love Randy Rhodes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love me some Randy Rhodes. He was, to me, I don't know if Echoes will argue with me, because Echoes is very into music, obviously, also, and he's a guitar player, among other things. He plays everything, but in my opinion, Randy Rhodes is one of the best, hands down. Miss Paula says Eddie Munson referenced Ozzy on Stranger Things. Miss Paula, I saw your was it your morning update today or yesterday where you're wearing your Eddie Munson t-shirt? I love it. I love it. Thank you, Miss Barbara. I hope I didn't miss her. She might have already been gone. Thank you, Miss Barb. She says, good night. All good to see you all. Sending hugs. Stay safe out there. Absolutely. 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 Paula says his family got into a lot of scandal. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. Paula says Dave Navarro was the host on Rockstar. Yep. Supernova. That was season 2. Oh, yeah. Ozzy left to moon. Sunday says he mooned us at one of the concerts I was at, pulled down his pants and turned around and bent over. Yeah. Ozzy liked to moon people. Yeah, Zach Wild's very good also. Absolutely. So do you think Zach is better than Randy? Are we gonna have to fight? No, I love both of them, but I mean I've always loved Randy Rhodes. Yeah. But Zach is one of the best too. I agree. And yeah. Echo says I think Randy influenced more players. I agree. Thank you, Miss Paula. Miss Paula says she was going to send me the clip. Thank you, ma'am. And oh, who was the other one that he had? They mentioned it. He was good too. Not as good, in my opinion, as Zach or Randy, but oh my God, now I'm gonna have to go back through here and find it. I can see him. I can't think of his name. Uh, get back to his. Now, why did it go back all the way to the top? Uh, Dadgummit, what's his name? Uh, I'll find it. Just one second, and then we'll move on to. Uh, oh my goodness. I can't find it. Um, Jakey Lee. Good Lord, I couldn't think of his name. Jakey Lee was good too. I said it. Not as good as Randy. I mean, he was good, but in my opinion, not as good as Randy and Zach. All right. Thank you. Yes, I knew you'd figure that. Yeah, Jake played on was on Shot in the Dark. Yes, and I don't think he wasn't with Ozzy as long as the other as Randy and Zach were, right? Because when we saw, did you go to the No More Tears concert? I can't remember if it was me and you or me and Daniel. But I think Zach, it wasn't Randy. I never saw. Unfortunately, I didn't ever get to see Randy live, but it had to have been Zach. I believe Zach was with him. I'm not sure. So I got to see Zach live. All right. So now we have Hulk Hogan. So like I said, us Gen X people are just losing them right and left here. And this was, I said, of course, Malcolm Jamal Warner was definitely unexpected. Ozzy, I wasn't. I was shocked. I mean, I was sad, shocked, but I wasn't really surprised, about Ozzy. But now Hulk Hogan, that kind of took me by surprise. So let me get this article going about Hulk. Now I think that is the last one we have, or we can talk about if anybody wants to hang around. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk to. It could be true crime, non-true crime, music, movies, wrestling, whatever. If anybody wants to hang around. If not, where is that article? It would help if I kept my articles in order. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, so now we have Hulk Hogan. So this is from ABC News from yesterday. Get rid of that sidebar. Okay. So Hulk Hogan, WWE Hall of Famer and legendary champion, dies at 71. Two-time WWE Hall of Famer and former world champion Hulk Hogan, whose real name was Terry Jean Belay, passed away Thursday at the age of 71, according to his family. In the statement on social media, his family said, quote, "It is with a heavy heart and deep sadness that we confirm we have lost a legend. And may we all take solace in the wonderful memories he left behind for millions of fans worldwide whose lives he touched for more than 4 decades." The family statement followed confirmation of Hogan's death by police in Clearwater, Florida, and WWE. The company statement said WWE is saddened to learn Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away. One of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. So the Clearwater Police Department and Fire Department responded to a call for cardiac arrest just before 10 a.m. and took Hogan to Morton Plant Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, according to police. Hogan was, quote, experiencing a serious medical-related issue, end quote, and there are no signs of foul play or suspicious activity, according to Clearwater Police Department Major Nate Burnside. He said this during a press briefing on Thursday, but his death does remain under investigation. So Hogan began his professional wrestling career in 1977 and featured prominently in the World Wrestling Federation, as it was known back in the day, now known as WWE, WCW, World Championship Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling. But it was his run with the WWE in the 1980s that propelled him and the company to the cultural zeitgeist. Hogan is widely credited for helping to turn professional wrestling from a regional attraction to a mainstream phenomenon in the 1980s. In the squared circle, he was the larger-than-life Hulk Hogan, the classic good guy, until he wasn't. Known as a face. So, for anybody not familiar with wrestling, faces are the good guys, heels are the bad guys. So he was the classic good guy, known as a face in wrestling terminology, who encouraged children to eat their veggies and say their prayers as they grappled the villains known as heels. He became champion on 6 different occasions with the WWE. What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you was one of his more popular catchphrases, and he, as the Hulkster, would put a hand behind his ear to hear the roar of the crowds. Hogan, including his signature leg drop and 24-inch pythons, were synonymous with WrestleMania, the annual extravaganza put on by WWE. The Immortal One, as the character of Hogan was known as, headlined the first on March 31st, 1985, alongside his tag team partner Mr. T and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Rowdy Roddy Piper. And I think Mr. T, out of all those, is the only one that is still alive, because of course Hulk is dead. Roddy Piper unfortunately passed away, and I don't know about Paul Orndorff. I can't remember if he's passed away or if he's still here. Anyway, the first WrestleMania led to an infamous confrontation in March 1995 between Belaya, or Hulk Hogan, and actor Richard Belzer, who was hosting Hot Properties. Wasn't Richard Belzer on the original? He was on the original Law and Order, wasn't he? Anyway, so Hulk and Mr. T were promoting their upcoming bout, and Hulk placed Belzer in a headlock to prove that wrestling wasn't fake. and Belzer momentarily passed out and was injured. So Belzer sued Hogan for injuries over the incident, and the suit was settled in 1990. Hogan would appear in 10 WrestleMania matches and featured in the main event 8 times. So Hogan parlayed his wrestling appeal by becoming a cultural icon himself, appearing on TV shows such as Saturday Night Live, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, and the short-lived series Thunder in Paradise, which co-starred his longtime friend and manager, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. I love Jimmy Hart. He also starred in movies like Rocky III and Mr. Nanny. Hogan left the WWE in the mid-90s and joined rival promotion WCW. However, the once adoring fans dubbed Hulkamaniacs began to boo his heroic persona. So to me, this is getting into what they call the crap. It just flew out of my head. It'll say in here. So Hogan changed the industry once again with his transformation to the evil Hollywood Hogan character. In 1996, for the first time in his illustrious career, the character of Hogan was now a villain or a heel, the leader of the faction, the New World Order, or the NWO in WCW. The Attitude Era, that's what I was trying to think of. The Attitude Era. So Hogan returned to WWE in 2002 and faced off against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at WrestleMania, I'm not good with Roman numerals, X8, with the fans cheering him on once again. Hogan's dip in popularity was not just limited to the arenas. His image took a battering in 1994 when the federal government accused WWE Executive Chairman Vince McMahon, POS, my opinion, of illegally giving performers steroids, performance-enhancing drugs. Hogan testified that he took steroids but denied doing so at McMahon's direction. So how was he saying that it was better? Is it, no, I didn't do it because he told me to do it. I did it because I wanted to. So, of course, Vince McMahon was ultimately acquitted. Hogan was once again in the news in 2012. He had a tape that came out involving Hogan and a friend's then wife. So he sued for invasion of privacy, and he won $140 million judgment by jury in June of 2016. He settled with the company for $31 million. So he was involved in a number of scandals throughout the years. 2007, apparently there's a recording of him making racist remarks. They were made public in 2015. He was fired from the WWE and temporarily removed from the Hall of Fame. So he apologized for this. He wanted the fans' forgiveness. He says, I'm embarrassed by it. People need to realize that you inherit things from your environment. And where I grew up in South Tampa, Port Tampa, it was a really rough neighborhood, very low income. And all of my friends, we greeted each other with that word. Now, I don't know, that's not a very good excuse, but so he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005 for the first time as an individual performer, and again in 2020 as a member of the NWO. Love the NWO. The NWO. So the NWO split into factions. You had the NWO Black, NWO Red, or the Wolf Pack that had Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, among others. Sting was in there at one time. I was definitely a Wolfpack NWO fan. So despite his retirement, he continued his connection to the sport that made him famous. He was reinstated by the WWE in 2018 and hosted WrestleMania 37 along WWE superstar Titus O'Neil in 2021. So he got engaged in 2023, got married in 2023. Just going over some of his political affiliations. So Vince McMahon remembered Hogan as, quote, the greatest WWE superstar of all time who gave everything he had to the audience. He was a trailblazer, the first performer who transitioned from being a wrestling star into a global phenomenon. His grit and unbridled thirst for success were unparalleled and made him the consummate performer. He was married 3 times. He is survived by his 2 children and his current wife that he was married to, Sky Daly. So that is the goods on Mr. Hogan, Mr. Balea. I mean, he did have a, and I watch a lot of nowadays, because of course we talked about earlier, I've always known wrestling was fake, or, you know, sports entertainment. I mean, yes, he was a phenomenon. He was arguably, unarguably one of the, if not the most famous wrestler. I mean, even if you don't watch wrestling, if you hear the name Hulk Hogan, you're going to know who it is. I mean, for anybody who doesn't watch. But now, in shoot interviews, you know, real life interviews with like other wrestlers, people who worked with him, some of them have some not so good stuff to say about him, about, you know, but, you know, that could, you know, probably 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Because I know that Jim Cornette doesn't talk highly of him, I don't believe, and a bunch of other people. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. He was definitely a cultural icon at one time. But anyway, like I said, I could talk about this stuff all night, but I won't bore anybody who is not into it. But okay, so it was us that went to the No More Tears. Okay, so it was, yeah, me and you. Zach was on No More Tears, and the album before that, yes, no Rest for the Wicked. Yep. Thank you, Miss Paula. Yes, Mom. My mom was telling me about that. Miss Peggy says just saw Chuck Mangione also died, 84 years old. Yeah, my mom. That was my mom's era. Yeah, she was saying about that. Let me look up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it should come up. There he is. So Chuck Mangione. He was an American flugelhorn player, trumpeter, and composer. He came to prominence as a member of Art Blakey's band in the 1960s, and later co-led the Jazz Brothers with his brother Gap, achieving an international success in 1977 with the jazz pop single "Feels So Good." That's according to Wikipedia. But yeah, I'd heard of him, but I mean, it's not one that I listen to on, you know, on a regular basis. But yeah, my mom mentioned that to me. Yep. You're talking about Hogan. Miss Paula said a lot of people are posting some or are you talking about Ozzy? Because I've seen, apparently people are posting some nasty stuff about Ozzy. But Miss Paula says a lot of people are posting some nasty comments on tributes to him. Yeah. Which, you know, absolutely nobody is perfect. Ozzy wasn't perfect. He had a hell of a lifestyle. Did some things I'm sure he probably wished he didn't do. But I mean, you know, there's always going to be people. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't appreciate the music, and, you know. But yeah, I've seen or I've read. I haven't read any of the comments, but yeah. Like I said, there's always been. I haven't read anything since he passed, but I've listened to several interviews with several former wrestlers, people who worked with Hogan that didn't have a lot of good things to say about him. But thank you, Mustang. Absolutely. You are most welcome. Y'all are most welcome. Yeah, I think that is all that I had. Yep, Hulk. Yep. Miss Peggy says Mangione was a great trumpet player. I like horns, and me too. Absolutely. All right, guys. If y'all don't have anything else, let's see. Oh yeah, we're 3 hours. We're gonna get out of here for the night because I'm losing my voice and my bladder's giving out on me. I know that's TMI, but you know, it's nature. So thank you to everybody that was here in chat. Thank you, chatters. Thank you, lurkers. Thank you, replay crew. If you're watching on replay, Monday I should be back with Missing Person Monday live stream, and we're doing, I believe, Nevada this week. Thank you, Sunday. Thank you. And I know I didn't have any videos. I try to get videos done to upload for you guys, but I'm telling you, this past couple of weeks, I don't know if I think it's more than just my farm signal. I think there's something going on just the solar flares or whatever, but the cell service and Wi-Fi has just been even worse than usual. Because I know one day, of course, I was gone the week before last for 4 days, going to Arizona and back, which I did have some pre-recorded videos uploaded for then. And I was going to try to get some videos uploaded for this week. And every time I would try to record a video, StreamYard will go out, the Wi-Fi cell service will go out. So I couldn't get anything done. So I apologize for that. And so I'll try to get some videos uploaded ASAP for this coming week. And like I said, we'll be back live Monday night if barring anything coming up, unexpected coming up. Thank you, Miss Paula. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Peggy. Thank you so much. So everybody have a great weekend. Try to stay cool, hydrated. Thank you, Mustang. And be careful. Don't be paranoid. Just be aware of your surroundings at all times. Thank you, Patriotism. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And just take care of each other. We're all we have. Take care of each other. I should have been multitasking. Hold on. And I'm going to leave you on a little lighter note. Once again, I've got to get a new outro made with the fur babies, with Tigger and Little Biscuit. So everybody have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys Monday night.